Hi everybody and welcome to another video. So this is a new sort of video for me and comes at the request of the user MissTeaRose, where it was asked if I would consider putting together a bit of a scenery tutorial specifically on decorating areas of your park between rides. I commonly refer to this as sort of blending areas of your park together, mostly with the intent just to give the park a generally more cohesive feel all around. So MissTeaRose was kind enough to send me in a park to give me an idea of what to speak to, and I thought it would be perfect to use as a working example for this video. So what we have here is a nearly completed scenario of Dynamite Dunes. Now first off, we have a really nice little entrance area with a small lake and some palm trees around the perimeter. There's a big log flume kind of making good use of the hill here. And then we have a really nice little Oasis area with an adorable little junior coaster kind of circling the perimeter. There's a bit of a food court on top of the hill up here, a little stream and waterfall which I also quite like. Back towards the entrance on the big kind of dune side, we have a nice little car ride and a go-kart track kind of built into the terrain. And up near the back of the park we have a launch freefall kind of dug into the ground. Then there's a reverse inclined corkscrew coaster creatively kind of tucked into the back here. I really like this little coaster actually. Particularly the little kind of tunnels either side of the loop here, and the little viewing platform just kind of next to it is really nicely done as well. So yeah, there's a few things I'd kind of change up a little bit. But this is a really solid start, and I know that the desert theme in particular can be a bit of a struggle to make look cohesive, particularly with the limited scenery pieces available. Anyway, we're going to have a go at kind of making some changes. I'll try my best to explain my thought process as I go through. The guest count is well past the minimum required, and we have just about 2 months, or 2 in-game months left until the scenario deadline. Which I think is a good sort of practical amount of time left to do some decorating to try and bring some of these areas together. We may go a little bit past the scenario deadline, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, let's get started. So first we'll have a look at the entrance area here with some small dunes on either side of the path, which should get rid of some of the kind of awkward flat bare areas, and then we might play around with the pathing here just to make it look a little smoother. Okay, next we're going to do a little bit of work on the log flume here. So I do like the idea of a log flume in this spot, but I think we can do a little, add a few more kind of switchback sections in, and that should hopefully take up a little bit more of this space here. And we might also reduce the size of this drop because it is quite large. Okay, so I think that's just about it for the log flume. So yeah, just brought a couple of these areas together, put in the brick wall textures as well, and made a bit more of a spectacle of this big drop here with kind of 2 bridges crossing over. Alright, so let's move on to the next section. Okay, so coming down to the Oasis area here, there's a few areas with kind of abrupt transitions, I guess, between the grass and the sand. So I might try and scatter some dirt and maybe the grassy dirt in between just to smooth that area out and just make it a little less square, basically. The Oasis coaster looks great though, but it is kind of a shame to hide this little portion of underground track here. So I'm going to propose a slight little rejig of the layout, just so it kind of aligns a little bit more with this earlier section of the ride, and get a bit more interaction with the waterfall and the 3D cinema here. and then we'll fill out some little gaps on the hill here afterwards too. Okay, I think that's just about it for this little area here. So moving on to the food court on top of the hill here, I always like to make sure that there's at least a tile or two in between rides and attractions, well, between the park fence and the ride and attraction, I mean. So I think we might have some land available to us here. So we might just purchase a tile, just extend the boundary a little bit, and then we might move on to the little waterfall section. And add basically a little bit more vegetation. So yeah, I mean we've got some water there, so I think that's a good excuse to add some grass and a few trees and shrubs around the place, just because it's Dynamite Dunes here. So yeah, so let's get started on that. Okay, so I think we'll consider that area just about done. Open this ride back up. So yeah, I mean, some of the trees and decorations might seem a little bit out of place, but I think with the waterfall there, we can kind of justify it. Also made sure to add in a bit of a pond at the base of the waterfall. Could probably kind of make this a little bit more jagged. But yeah, just something like that. Hopefully kind of just gives you a bit of an idea of what I was going for. Made sure to add in quite a few bits of fencing, particularly at the top of the hills where there's a bit of a risk of, well, there's no real in-game risk of it happening, but I like to add fences in positions where it is probably warranted, such as the top of the hills and in between bits of track and path as well in particular. But yeah, I think we can move on to the next section. So I think moving back over to the big dune over here, we might do a slight bit of layout rejigging with the car ride and go-karts. Yeah, maybe. We'll try and add in a few little bits of clustered scenery with kind of cacti, shrubs, and maybe some of those nice Egyptian ruins, like stones in a way. Make the land a little bit more jagged in places, at the same time also smooth out some areas which probably shouldn't be so kind of jagged, like this kind of square section here, and just to try and reduce the flat and vertical faces. Okay, so that's probably enough changes for this area here. So I think we'll move back now to the kind of center of the park and pay attention to this kind of area. So I think the junction here is I think is a good opportunity for a Ferris wheel actually, and there's also not so many other rides around this area. So yeah, I think we'll try and add that in there, and then just again fill out some more of the gaps with some scenery and decorations. Okay, so I probably did a little bit more than I anticipated originally. So yeah, added the Ferris wheel just here, kind of near the junction, and then a haunted house, kind of just buried that into the hill and just kind of tried to blend in the surroundings a little for that. And then just added some shrubs and kind of light foliage around the area here too. So the next thing we're going to work on is this little free fall here. So just the main thing I want to focus on is just kind of these working on these transitions with the terrain here. Just kind of it's quite abrupt overall. So I'm just going to manipulate the land and maybe the pathing a little bit. Add a few little bits of clustered scenery as well. So yeah, we'll see what I can come up with here. Okay, so it's probably not my favorite area of the park here. I think the pathing overall is just a little bit awkward, a little bit high off the ground in places. But if I was going to do something like this, might be kind of how I'd went about it. Now that I think of it, I might actually give a new color scheme to this freefall and see how that looks. Okay, so I think we can move on to the last area of the park here, which is actually, I don't think it needs a whole lot of tweaking, just a few minor things here and there. One of which being if I was to be really picky, maybe this reverse incline of the corkscrew, might change that just so it's steep right away, and there's not so much track just kind of sitting on the ground. Might fix that up. And then we might just add in a few extra trees and shrubs around the area to finish it off, basically. And also might change the color scheme of the spiral slide here too. So let's get going. Okay, yeah, so that was mostly just about filling in those little empty areas with some fences and some light scenery. I forgot that I'm working with RCT2 actually at the moment, so I forgot that I had access to some extra little scenery pieces there, which I just used on top of the little hill there. Might actually just add a few little more pieces of the mine scenery just around the station of Dynamite Blaster here. I forgot to point out that there was actually a few changes made to Dynamite Blaster, the original layout. We've got a kind of pre-drop here, which I think is a really good idea because it kind of takes a while to just crawl around that first turn otherwise. So that was a good little change there. But yeah, we'll just add in a little bit more scenery around the place, plug in a few more gaps that I see just around the park in general actually. We'll probably call it a day after that. Okay, so I think we will just about call it a day there. One thing I forgot to mention is that decorating your paths with some, benches, bins, and lamps around the place can also really help kind of complete the look of the park in a way. It's something that I certainly forget to do quite a lot, but it can certainly help just just give the park a more complete feel overall. Okay, so we spent quite a bit of time doing this in the end. It's now just about June year 4. All in all, I think we spent probably about half an in-game year doing all of this, which I don't think is too bad, considering it's a medium-sized map. But hopefully this gives you an idea of what I like to do, at least, when I try and kind of make parks more cohesive. It's just it really comes down to, filling in empty areas, just either with rides or bits of scenery, just going for landscaping that's not sort of predictable in a way. So just for example, the little dunes just at the front here, just rather than just having flat bare patches, just making things a little bit more interesting and doing some terraforming where you can. I certainly didn't do absolutely everything that I wanted to. Just this is just mostly for to give you an idea of how I'd go about things if I was trying to blend the area together. I'm hoping this might be the start of a little series here, depending on if people found it useful. So yeah, please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Some other ideas people have put forward include food courts and RCT1 style buildings, so might look into that in the future. Thanks again to MissTeaRose for sending this park in. It was a fun little project to work on, and really enjoyed it. I'm also happy to hear constructive criticism on the tutorial. This is my first time doing a video like this, so I would love to get some feedback on areas where I can improve, or if there's anything I can explain better. Please just let me know. We'll call it a day there. Thank you all very much for watching, and we will hopefully see you in the next video. Cheers, bye.